No, they are. And in the last game that the Lakers played, where they won pretty easily, that I was watching closely, I was still critical of Luka Doncic in the midst of a ridiculous performance for how he was not getting back on defense. And I thought Luka, my next takeaway in this game, in addition to the transition, but it dovetails with Luka, is that it just was, again, just a weird emotional game for Luka. And I just don't have much sympathy when, last I checked, he's leading the NBA in free throw attempts. They're not going to call every single foul. And yeah, he got hit in the face on one pretty badly. They didn't call it. That was a miss for sure. He then got teed up. And Stan Van Gundy was saying, well, if the guy missed a call, it shouldn't be a technical. Like, no, that's not true, actually. There's no reason that you still have to maintain decorum and not be abusive of the referees. Like, at no other level of basketball are you expected to just be able to swear at a referee and have it be consequence free. I don't know why that's the culture of the NBA. I actually, there's part of me that wants technical fouls to be 2 free throws, just so and a personal, so guys will just stop doing it, because they obviously can. And that would honestly be good for Luka if the consequences were that high. Regardless, he had these moments of hustle that were very ostentatious. Like, there was running in for an attempted tip dunk, falling down, and then they gave up a fast break the other day, or flying into the stands trying to run a guy off the 3-point line, or falling down trying to take a charge as someone was running out to the corner, which actually might have been a charge, frankly, but it was still sort of a weird play. Or another time where he just starts trying to pressure up Julian Champagnie at half court over and over again, fouls him twice, they let it go. Champagnie drives by him, and then he fouls him again from behind. And I thought Luka actually wasn't necessarily the problem from an individual defense standpoint in the half court. It was more just the getting back. And I think towards the end, he did have some plays where he was sprinting back and not complaining. I'm sure JJ probably got on him, as Stan Van Gundy was. But just the energy from Luka, that there's always something wrong. I'm always agreed. Everyone is always against me. The world, life is just not fair. And that's like, I've talked about this many times. Like, Joel Embiid kind of has that attitude. Doc Rivers kind of has that attitude. And while there are and especially when you just look at the calls that Luka gets, like, most of them come from direct call seeking behavior. He's gaining an advantage, sure, but he's going to some kind of a trick. It's like, for lack of a better, it's kind of a loser mentality, frankly. And not to put myself in the shoes of Nico Harrison here, but that's got to change. And I try to be consistent about that when his offensive talents overwhelm all of that, and on nights like tonight when they don't.
I agree with all of that. And I think it's fascinating that you focused on the complaints on the offensive end, because those were significant. And I think in many ways, those were more genuine. You brought the emotional part of the game. It stuck out to me in how much he was complaining about the fouls that he was called for defensively. Like, there was one where he's so demonstrative, yelling at the ref, when he just, so Luke Cornett is standing still, and Luka is trying to, he's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to chase his cover around a screen, and he, shoulders into Luke Cornett. Cornett went down probably to accentuate the contact, but there was absolutely, that's why I use the term embellishment. Like, there was enough contact for a call. You just make it more likely for the foul to be actually
Or there
called.
was the one where he fouled him on Cornett on his arm as they're trying to make their comeback, and it was just obviously had his arms way forward. And
Yeah.
that
And
was
so,
but he has this attitude. It's like, but I really tried that time. You can't call a foul on me. It's like, no, everyone else is trying all the time, and they get fouls called on them. That's how this works.
It is. And so, like, it puts together a dynamic that I'm sure has to be exhausting for officials, where it's this guy who is getting fouled a lot, is simultaneously complaining about everything and thinking that everything he does isn't a foul. And so that isn't to say that you officiate him any differently. I agree with you. Mostly, I agree with you on the technical stuff. It's just unnecessary. Like, I'm not a basketball purity zealot on this, but it's also, I focus on this so much and all the other things. It's like, why are there things in this that are optional that don't make the product better? And that's definitely one of them. And I don't think it's as egregious as some of the other ones that I dwell on all the time, but it is still there. And I agree with your sentiment. And so I think with Luka Doncic, and you could say, oh, well, it's just talk and all this stuff. It isn't. it's the way, like, you could see that flustered part of it when he plays, and now he did have one savvy time where he complained incessantly about one of his fouls, and then he did what you've advocated for all the time, which is, like, you try to get some contact the other way, and they're gonna give you that call, just kinda do that, and he did that to get a foul on, I think it was Devin Vassell. But Luka, it's not just that he acts on tilt, it's that sometimes, and it stands out for a player who's typically so in control, so the master of his domain offensively, that he sometimes plays on tilt too.
So he did have 35 points. He was 11 and
Yeah.
24. I thought his pick and roll game was excellent. Stan Van Gundy was very focused on that, and that they were just generating great shots with what he was doing. And he was a big reason. And Luka takes guys who are not great shooters and makes them into pretty good shooters. Marcus Smart was the beneficiary of that tonight because he went absolutely crazy. And as a result, the Lakers, they put up 119 in this game. It wasn't a great offensive performance, but their half court offense was amazing.